Hi. Um, I would like to tell you something that's my heart today morning. Thank you, Holy Spirit, for being my company in that. Jesus said, "Come to me if you are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Come to me, and I will give you rest." That's His project. All He wants of us is us resting on Him, in Him, with Him. That's the invitation of the gospel. To rest on Him. And I was, I'm always asked, sometimes quite aggressively, like, what should I do? Now I understand that the presence of God is the real deal. Like, what should I do? Like, tell me what to do. I'm gonna do that. And I'm like, okay. I'm not really into methods. Actually, I hate most of them. I tried a lot of methods, and some work, some not. I learned from them, but I'm not really for some particular method. And I think there are thousand ways of approaching God. So you can do whatever you feel like doing. You can try out what the others try out. You can play with it. You can fail in it. We have plenty of time. We have eternity to experiment. So feel free to try out all the monks' prayers and all the latest charismatic whatever. But don't be really don't really cling to them. It would only hurt you. So I think we should hold these things lightly. Like, okay, I tried this, but I'm not. Don't be dependent on a certain method. That's what I would suggest. Um, but now I'm gonna give you a method. Yes, no matter how surprising it is, I'm gonna do that. And this is gonna be a very simple one sentence advice. Method description of 2 words. Sit down. Yes, it is. That's all. Sit down. You will experience that it might be more complicated than you think it is. Because you have all the other things to do, even with God. Like, do that for God, do that with God, do this ministry. I need to pray and intercede and read my Bible and go through this devotional book and whatever. So we have a lot to do, even in our relationship with God sometimes. And we always procrastinate just sitting down with Him. Like, okay, but now I read that book, I could experience God in that. Like, I can do that and still experience God. Of course, you can do whatever and still experience God. He's ever present. There's no doubt about it. But there is something in giving our full attention to Him. And it's also a learning process. Like, our minds has unlearned the presence of God, and we need to be changed by the renewing of our mind regarding old creation, new creation, or regarding depression, for example. But we also need to renew our mind to the presence of God, because it's a constant thing, it's an existing thing, it's existence itself. But if we don't change our mind into being aware of it and knowing it and acknowledging it, then we have we can't enjoy it. Like, I could say we can't profit from it, but it sounds a bit weird. But actually, yeah, we can't profit from it either. Like, we cannot enjoy any benefits of it. And it's like when you have a very old table in the attic and it's super dirty, uh, spider webs all over, kind of like rotten in parts and very ugly, and you just find it on your attic and you just bring it down and you clean it up. You spend the whole afternoon washing it and cleaning it, and at the end you have a great table and you're surprised that, did I always have it? Yes, you did. It was just under layers of dirt and spider webs. And something similar is the case with the presence. Like, it's ours. Like, we have it all in Jesus. But do we recognize it? Do we give time to remove the layers of anger and stress and depression and stupid thoughts, and I need to do that, I need to build ministry, I need to read through that before, I need to get married maybe then, if the kids leave home. Absolutely for living in the presence 24/7 and being aware of Jesus while you are doing the washing up. And I know that it's possible to have our minds so renewed to this awareness of God that there will be no difference between your just with Jesus time and your time when you actually do something else but still aware of His presence. For example, Brother Lawrence was a master of it, like doing washing up and enjoying God. But we need to teach ourselves that awareness of the presence. Like, if you never practice the presence on your own, it is less likely that you become aware of it when you do something else. But if you are aware of it while you are doing something else, maybe it's gonna be easier for you to experience God when you actually dedicate time to Him. So it works both ways. And I won't say that this is important than the other. I think they are both very important and we don't need to prioritize them. So I'm all for abiding in the presence and living in it. And I'm trying to learn it. I know that it's possible to get to this awareness when you are like, someone can drop a bomb and you're not out of the presence, or you don't lose the sense of the presence. Still, I believe that we don't experience the presence in our private time and in other times because we don't just sit down. And it's as simple as that. Like, you hang out with a friend and you walk and you just chit chat, and what gets accomplished? Nothing. You just do it for your relationship and you enjoy just the company of the other. You don't need money, nothing gets done, and it's a waste of time actually. And if Jesus is a real person, then He's worth this waste of time too. And there is something more to it than that. He's a person, so you always give attention and time to someone you value. Um, and you even enjoy this wasting of time. So it's not just like, it was such a waste of time. You were like, yeah, it was a great time. It was such a great conversation. You just, yeah, you are so enthusiastic. And if we look it from the point of view of efficiency, like nothing actually happened. And it's ridiculous that it doesn't cross our mind when we hang out with our best friend. But when we hang out with Jesus, like, nothing really happened. I don't think if I've done it right, maybe I'm not as close as I used to be, and that so on. It's so ridiculous. His eyes are on you. The time you choose to turn towards him, deal done. That's all he wanted. All he wanted is your company. Just the fact that you turn to him by just sitting down, it's what he wanted. Like sometimes when I spend most of the time with him, like my thoughts wandering away and like really not focused, and it's just like, oh god, I'm really wasting my time. And he says like, yeah, maybe, but you're wasting it on me. I'm so happy that you are wasting this time on me. It just values me so much. It shows that I'm worth even the waste of time. I appreciate that. Sometimes when I don't even get to the point when I can do nothing because my mind is so busy that I can't even go to the place when I can do nothing. And he says like, oh, it was a great time with you. I'm like, yeah, 85% of it was spent on I don't know what. And he says, no, I've died for that. Yeah, I've died for that. My goal while dying for you was your company. And I had it now. And I really enjoyed it. So, mission accomplished. That's what I came for. And yeah, that was what I had on my mind. Like you would sit next to me. And here you are sitting next to me. Thank you. This time that you given to me now shows that it was worth coming for you because you actually turned to me. You don't need to think that something has to happen when we are together. Like, just the fact that you are here and I am here makes that we have fellowship. Like, nothing more is required for fellowship but two persons being present. And I am present, and now that you are present too, deal done. Yeah. And he enjoys that. Like, of course, he's always with us, but there's something like a gift to him when we give our attention that way. Yeah, he's always there. He always enjoys us, but there is something special about doing that. I was looking for like, oh, what can I do for you, Jesus? Like, how can I show love to you? Like, you don't need anything. You pretty much have everything. The whole world is inside of you, so pretty hard to amaze you. And actually, he doesn't need to be amazed. Number one. Number two, what he enjoys the most when you enjoy him. What he enjoys the most when you realize his presence, when you are aware of him. He is like cheering for you, like, yeah, he's gonna be aware of me and he's gonna enjoy it and he's gonna change forever. And yeah, I'm super excited. So actually, he doesn't need it for himself, he needs it for you. But he also has pleasure in it. I don't know. Sometimes when I have no, like, I didn't really have my mind directly set on him, he still says that, oh, it was a great time. You were here. There's nothing else I want. Yeah, he has pleasure in it. There's another thought I would like to share, and it is the sacrifice of time. Um, in the Old Testament, there were all kinds of sacrifices, like sacrificing the lamb, the dove, a liquid offering. They sometimes even sacrifice like um, wheat or something, or food, and it was a common practice that was a way of pleasing God. Of course, we don't need to please God, like He's already very pleased with us. And thanks to Jesus, there's nothing we can do to improve our state or our standing with God or position or like nothing. Of course, kind of we understand that we don't need to do anything for the forgiveness of sins, but for anything else, we don't need to give anything to. So this sacrifice is not for something. This is a sacrifice of love. Like, I want to bring you something because I want to express love. That's all. That's the only kind of sacrifice that is legitimate in the new covenant. Uh, but there is something to it. Like, just offering up a time. Sometimes when I tell people, like, oh, I spent 2 hours in the afternoon with God, and they are amazed, like, oh, you're super spiritual. I can hardly pray for 10 minutes. And I'm like, oh, yeah, you thought I was praying the whole time. Oh, no, I was just there, just half asleep, enjoying the rest. It wasn't that spiritual. Like, we think that we should be doing something, like something has to happen. And we need to be in worshiping mood and pray for revival in Zimbabwe and our aunt's uncle to get healed and I don't know, all kinds of things. But you don't need to feel that time. So this time is just for itself. Like, I give it up to you. That's for you, Jesus. I sit down. Here I am. It's okay if nothing happens. I am yours. And my time is yours. And I'm sacrificing it right now. And I don't say that crazy things won't happen or shouldn't happen in this time. I think, yeah, we are about to experience Him always more and more. But if nothing happens, and let me assure you, if you decide to spend time with Jesus every day, probably there will be days when you don't experience crazy things. I don't want to give you a bad prophecy, but there is a possibility for that sometimes there will be only silence. And you can say that, oh, it's not the presence of God. I've fallen out of it. What have I done? God is not coming. What am I doing wrong? I've done that so many times. That's how I know. Like this rumbling. But it's actually normal when nothing happens. And it's a waste of time. And you feel like it's a waste of time. And what a wonderful insight. it is. And yeah, you have wasted it on me. I'm so happy for you, Jesus says. The greatest worshiper of all times, Mary, has wasted a whole year's wage on him. It was completely waste. No point in it at all. And sometimes when you sit down and the time is going pointlessly, but because then we feel that something supernatural takes place and we really enthusiastic and feel a great intercessor and have downloads and impartations. Yeah, then we feel that this time was efficient. Yeah, we accomplished something. When nothing happens, we feel like, yeah, it's really a waste of time. And sacrifice is wasting. That's what it is. And wasting something that could be used for something really great. And like in the Old Testament, the little lambs had to be perfect, and the doves, and the liquor, and all the stuff that is to be sacrificed has to be really good and valuable. And when you waste your time, it's your most valuable possession. I could earn money, I could do a lot, but I'm wasting it on you. And yeah, it's very precious. That's why I'm doing it. There is a temptation to leave and give up when we don't feel anything and get frustrated. What I really want to break is this lie that spending time with God should look somehow. Like it's it's perfectly okay for you to sit on the couch and just sit there like with no express prayer or emotional state or whatever. Like just resting and knowing that he's there, just resting in him is completely fine. And it's a fellowship with God. And it's that easy. And yeah, sometimes great things happen, but we shouldn't like set the standard like, oh, always this has to happen. Like you can just have fun with it. Yeah. So I won't say sorry. I just feel God. I love when he shows up. Yeah. There's this expression in the Psalms, the sacrifice of praise. Yeah. It's a waste. The greatest kind of waste ever. Sometimes people say that, oh, we need to lay our lives down. And yeah, it's very well meant, and I'm all about laying our whole lives down. But when you try it with like 2 hours, you realize how much your life is laying down. Like, I can't believe I just wasted 2 hours, and you feel uncomfortable. And man, it's not your whole life. It's just a freaking afternoon. You can check how laid down you are with 1 hour first. Um, yeah, but I don't want to be cynical. Like that's the way I bump into my own boundaries. So I'm preaching to myself completely. The presence of God is is a constant thing. It's an existing thing. It's not somewhere out there. But we need to uncover this reality in our brains. This morning, what came to my mind is this verse. The kingdom of God is like the treasure hidden in the field, and it has many like revelations to it. Like I won't go through that. Probably I could name like one or two, but there is this new approach to it. I just had today morning. Like yeah, every treasure of God is ours. Like the table is already in our attic, but it's under the layers of worries and striving and depressive thoughts, and I need to do that, and I need to build ministry, and I need to wash the clothes before, and I need to get married before, and all this stuff. And when we take the time to remove these layers by just sitting down to be with Him, then we realize that the presence is always there. The treasure is always there. It doesn't, come to us. It doesn't have to be forced. It doesn't have to be stolen or begged for. It's there, but there are layers of dirt on it. And yeah, we remove this dirt of worries and stupid lies and delusions by sitting down and giving up time for God to lead us through this process of learning His presence and renewing our mind into the awareness of this ever-existing glory. And it's worth the time, and it's worth everything. I haven't experienced much of it, but I already know that it's worth it. So how much more worth I will think it to be later. Yeah. So shortly, my advice is sit down on your bottom. That's all I have for spiritual advice for you. And He will do the rest. And this uncovering process is not yours. It's what He does when you are with Him. So, yeah. Let's find this treasure under the ground. God bless you guys. I wish that you would experience God the way you never experienced Him before. Oh. Amen.